Studying body language for your characters is really important for many reasons. One of them being it makes your work feel a lot more natural. Your characters will feel a lot more real. For example, if all your characters are standing in the same stance, even if they have different emotions on their face, if they all move the same and stand the same or sit or whatever, if they all act the same, they're going to feel robotic or stiff. Whereas adding more variety to the way your characters behave physically will add a lot more interest, and it's real good. Another thing that's really important to note about comics is that your characters will often need to express their emotions without dialogue. Also, your characters probably aren't going to say everything they're thinking and feeling with speech bubbles, so you can say a lot about your character without having any words on the page. Super important for a visual medium like comics. For example, you can have a character who is smiling and in the speech bubble, they're saying I'm fine, I'm great, but their body language is drooping and they're hunched over and they're obviously sad. And that tells a whole story. Not to mention, your character's body language tells you a lot about their personality. Just looking at the way a character stands can tell you who they are at a glance, which is super important in comics because people are only going to stare at the panel for maybe a few seconds or a few minutes at a time. You have a character who's standing all tall and confident, their feet spread wide apart, their chest puffed out. That says something very different about them than a character who stands with their shoulders hunched in and their head hanging low all the time. You can have these two characters say the exact same line, I'm feeling great, but their body language adds a whole new context to what they're saying. For example, the confident character is standing with their chest puffed out. If they're I'm feeling great, you're gonna believe them. It's very powerful and energetic and confident, and they seem determined. Whereas you have the character who's curled in on themselves looking at their feet, they say, I'm feeling great. It could be sarcasm or they're lying. See, even with the exact same dialogue, the visual can say something different entirely. You can also use your character's movements and stance to make your panels more dynamic. If every single character in every panel of your comic is standing with their arms at their sides, just with their legs straight, just standing there, it's probably going to be boring. A lot of your panels will look the same, and it'll get repetitive, and they'll probably look kind of stiff and weird. So adding characters that are moving and gesturing and walking and jumping and running, whatever it is, it adds a lot of life to your panels and makes them a lot more dynamic and interesting to look at. So, real short video today, but I hope hearing all this stuff challenges you to add more use of body language to your comics. I know sometimes it's very tempting to only include panels of your characters from the chest up, not showing their hands or their bodies, because bodies are hard to draw and hands are hard to draw, and you might not feel confident in drawing, say, a big gesture or a big movement, because you're still learning how to draw that stuff. But I hope it encourages you to try doing that. You need to learn how to draw the bodies of your characters, and you need to know how to draw their bodies doing things, because that'll make your comics more fun and interesting. And you can improve body language in your characters by doing gesture drawings, studying how different people hold themselves. You can watch movies, you can study people on the street, you can draw your friends, look at yourself in the mirror, how you stand. You can always mimic poses that you want your characters to make as reference for when you're drawing. So I hope that you do. And like I said, I know it's hard. It can be really hard to force yourself to do these things when you're new at it, and it seems very scary, but you'll only get better by trying. That's all that matters. And I hope you guys have fun adding cool body language to your characters, because like I said, I think that's one of the most important, maybe not the most important, but one of the most fun things about it for me is designing a character. You also need to design how they move and how they gesture, because just like I said, at a glance, it tells you everything you need to know about that character. And that's so cool, and you should consider it when you're designing your characters, is how they move. Do they talk with their hands? Do they use big movements? Do they use small movements? Are they very prim and proper? Or are they very, all over the place? So many different ways that people move. You can have someone who moves like a dancer versus someone who's a lot more, clunky and clumsy. There's so much variation, and I challenge you to go try adding it to your characters. It'll make you love them and love drawing them even more. One problem I kind of run into a lot of the time is giving my characters the same gestures, because you'll study how to portray different emotions and how to show those visually. For example, someone who's scared, they might huddle their hands in close, or curl up in a corner, or I don't know, freeze like they're about to run or something. I don't know. But I'll usually have just a small handful of visual clues to what they're feeling. And I like to challenge myself more and more to push my characters to behave differently than each other. Because you might not have the problem where all your characters are just standing, not doing anything, but you might have the problem where everyone is behaving the same. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. Always challenge yourself to make your characters very different. It helps to line them up and show them doing the same emotion, or, put your characters in a scene and have the same thing happen to all of them and see how they react differently. It's an exercise you can do in writing to help with characterization, and you can do that for their visual characterization as well. And I think that's all I got. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks to everyone on the Discord chat who suggested this to me last night. That was real sweet. Yeah. Make sure to check out our Patreon before the end of February. We have a lot of new tiers and rewards that will begin in March that include things like game streams where you can play drawing games or draw with us. We'll be doing a movie night where we'll sit and watch movies with you guys or shows. And there's even tiers where you can get a critique of your work. So go check out our Patreon. It is in the description down below. I'm super excited to start on all that stuff. So if you go sign up and support us, I hope we can offer you this cool content. Woo. And I guess check out our Discord as well, where you can request more video topics. I guess you can also request video topics in the comments. So you do whatever you want. You. Okay, I'm gonna go. Goodbye.